Road CEO is a set of powerful training that can deliver business acumen for anybody. You get in where you fit in. It's hundreds of hours of video material where you've got skills such as personnel management, marketing, accounting. You can see a business bank manager telling you how to create AAA credit. You'll see a mortgage broker teaching you how to get onto the property ladder without spending £1 million. All of these things are common secrets for our young men. This is why we travel down roads that don't benefit us, because all of this information is hidden from us. So the whole point of the partners coming together to create a mastermind is to deliver something that you can make into a qualification and take an MVQ. But if you don't desire to sit in those assessment centers, you've got hundreds of hours of video that you can commit to memory by repetition that are going to teach you every single skill that a CEO has, including the diplomatic skills that can carry you into any room so that you can converse with people as peers as opposed to being subservient. You'll never need to change your enunciation or how you speak based on the fact that you're a boss with the acumen to close deals, to write deals, and to make things happen.
So why are you doing this thing in the first place?
Because I was that guy. I moved out of my mother's house at 18 years old. And every single skill that I have at this point in my life, I learned by default. The reason we put Road CEO together is because it's all by design. You have to currently go on YouTube and eat the chicken and spit out the bones. But that's not necessary in 2018. And it's not £1 million for us to put this together. The reason we create this mastermind is so that you will have access to every single piece of information that an MBA student who spends 30 grand on their degree has. But you'll have it as accessible. That's what I desired to have when I was 18 years old. I wouldn't have wasted half the time that I did establishing myself to where I am.
All right then. Cool deal. I know, brother. We are.
Bless King.
Content over everything.
So the question I ask again is, you know, it's a brilliant, Road CEO is a brilliant program. I love the concept of it. I love the fact that young people will have choices, which is, I think this is what we're trying to say, is that young people need an avenue to channel that energy.
That's it.
Good or bad, turn bad energy into good energy. That's what I say. But as an advocate looking at it, is it, I mean, are young people going to look at it and say, you know, we're already making this type of money already, and they already consider themselves as business people. Why on earth would I now spend time trying to legitimize this business when I'm already doing this business? Is that a challenge to young people?
Did you want to answer that?
Yeah. The question is, why not?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in an era where that was the dream.
Yeah.
The dream was to make that transition from here to here.
Yeah.
And I think that dream is still valid to this day. But it's just that they are kind of being plugged into so-called mainstream services that are never going to see them as that person.
Okay,
of course. Can you imagine one of these youths walking into the job centre across the road and say, you know, I want to set up my own business, and they look at the rap sheet and they think, yeah, right. You know, so it's a lot, and that comes from our community as well. It's not just, you know, it's across the board. So once they project their own insecurities onto that person, you're just perpetuating that whole kind of, you know, the lack of self-belief.
Monkey see.
Exactly. So then they come to someone like me, who know where they're coming from and comes from that same environment, and I can say, you know what, forget what they're saying to you. You can actually do this. As long as you're committed to actually making that transition, we can show you the pathways how to get there. And we've got tangible people, we've got proof of people around us. Yeah. Even in this community over here, some of my peers that have actually done that. And I can say so-and-so down the road or so-and-so down the road. And they know these people. And they know it can be done successfully as well. So it's showing proof and also showing them the pathway and having the belief. And I've got that affinity with my beneficiaries, which a lot of mainstream services haven't got. You know, I'm looking at them as a human being.
Which is what we were going to get onto before.
That's it.
Because I personally believe that a lot of these organisations are not connected to the source.
No, it's just a 9 to 5.
They're like disjointed limbs.
Absolutely.
It's trying to work with the rest of the torso. It never
job.
works.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's really interesting about young people, because I've always thought that, why would you legitimize something that you're already doing already, you're already making a fortune from it? Why now, in effect, slow that down?
However, you're not slowing it down, because look, there's the picture that's painted of selling drugs, and then there is what is going on in the real world. So this is you. You are food. Because you were recruited by a predator. Now, a couple of decades ago, you might have been mentored by somebody who was supplying you with drugs. But now, you're just food. So I've recruited you based on fear. My business with you is based on fear. If I feel like robbing you every now and again, I will. 100%. You wear track bottoms under your pants because it's cold, and you're shotting all day. There's nothing romantic about that. You're going back to your mum's box room with a couple of quid. Now, if you get to the top of the food chain and you're wearing Balenciaga trainers, you have nothing. Now, not only do you have nothing, but you're also a target. So outside of this predator that's supplying you, who can rob you every now and again or knock you every now and again, and you've got no power to come up against until maybe you acquire a gun and you can bust their skull. You have other eyes on the road on you. You have the police's eye on you. And just for jealousy, somebody might want to take your life just to gain a reputation to see how you fall. So let's be realistic about what being a shotter actually is. You're still, your greatest date is Nando's. You're not taking anybody to Jamie Oliver. Let's be realistic about it.
The majority.
This is true. Because there are people who are pretty shrewd, who will figure their way out in society. And this is where the interpersonal skills come in now, because we start to talk about numbers, don't we? And in anything, when it's the laws of the jungle, when there's a lack of prevailing wisdom, you are going to experience Lord of the Flies, which is a bestial environment. And this is why young men are killing each other with the propensity that they are today. Because you're experiencing Lord of the Flies, because it's a bestial environment based on the fact that there is no prevailing wisdom. There is peer wisdom, which is little wisdom.
That's it.
And no empathy.
That's it. I completely agree. So you know, I know you got some stuff inside.
I'm always listening myself. Yeah, I think, what do you think? The thing is, with the brothers and sisters, you never want to be in a situation where you're talking down to them. And it's the sense of...
Definitely.
From the work I do, when I'm going out in the street or going to speaker's corner, where it might be, what resonates with the young brothers and sisters is the people who are speaking have gone through or going through what they're going through and showing them another way. You know, there's an instant connect. I think that's very important. You know,
very.
Like you were saying, to show that we've done this. Here's the other option, because many people don't get to see that.
Well, just going back to what you said there earlier about, you know, everybody shots. Everybody shots drugs.
Fashion.
You know, some 9-year-olds are big shotters.
That's it.
It's an illusion.
Complete.
And you know, I'm going to throw that word in the mix because our young people are subject to illusions.
100%.
And it doesn't, you know, it's almost like they're in this matrix of
100%
of. You know, they can make money at 15.
100%.
You know, what does a 15-year-old know about the importance of owning a Rolex with passion?
You know,
this is kind of where it's all going.
It's been amplified by social media.
Absolutely.
Because we never had that. You know, that
we didn't need that.
No, we didn't need that, and obviously it didn't exist.
In fact, nobody. Does anybody really even need a Rolex?
I mean, look, I remember the days where certain people who are involved in the criminal world will run away from cameras. Literally. You know, you didn't want to be seen taking pictures. And it's moved full circle to this, how we have a situation here now where, you know, it's like you're promoting.
You film your lifestyle.
Your lifestyle, literally. what you're doing, and it's like, how did it come from this to this?
It's low self-esteem, isn't it?
You know, yeah. So you know, it's crazy.
So
It's
social media provides that that illusion of self-esteem.
Of course.
What are we doing to change that? What are we doing to actually build that self-esteem? So that illusion, they're not constantly perpetuating it.
Yeah,
You see what I'm
but
saying?
that's for people like, you know, individuals in the community to actually, you know, show the reality to these youths, because they're not going to get that reality for going to sign on in a job centre or a Maximus or whatever mainstream service. They're not going to give them that because they're not structured or designed to address these issues, and that's a fact. So it's the onus is on us with the road CEO and various other organs that are in the community to actually come together and actually deliver what needs to be delivered. Because the issue is, my thing is, the organisations are already there on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah. They're already there in abundance, but they've got no resources. They've got no manpower to actually execute what they need to do. You know, so the real issue is, how do we address that problem? And that's the
coordination.
And the coordination. And that's the reason why me and Dean have been sitting down to actually work out this structure. Yeah. Because that's you know, when you go to anybody, we've got no money. Go to mayor's office, there's no money. There's no money. You know, they'll find it when they want to, but essentially there is no money. And it's cutbacks and, you know, austerity and all these things. Yeah. So the issue for us,
just paperwork.
Yeah. The issue for me is, how do we address this issue?
But
how do we address
no
the
money?
Yeah.
Right up until a huge European organisation gets the contract.
That's it.
To deliver the solutions that we need.
That's it.
So the whole point of the road CEO is not to set up a new organisation, because every partner, some of them who couldn't be here because of the deep snow, have organisations that are delivering these things at grassroots and in a strategic way. So you look at Ultra Kids, which is giving business acumen to young people already.
Early
Look
age.
at Father to Father,
That's it.
which is dealing with the emotional intelligence issues of young men and fathers. You look at Justin Muhammad, who's from a nation background, but been a teacher who has homeschooled 4 sons successfully.
Lawyer as well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
lawyers and teachers, his sons. So when you look at the gentlemen from all of these backgrounds, and there are women partners as well. So Vanessa from Black CEO London, Dana Byfield, who is a financial advisor, Khadijah Ward, who's written about economics. So the reason we were having this roundtable tonight was so that young men see that they're worth enough to older men. There are men in the community that have a value for you.
Absolutely.
And we're not willing to accept
Absolutely.
who society is telling us who you are, and we are not willing to throw you away. So in coming together, we design a robust enough program for 2 reasons. It must fulfill every social skill, emotional literacy that you need, and business acumen. And it must also be robust enough that no funder can say no. In this quarter, we have the experience, you have the collective turnover that is enough, and you have a charity with 18 years of returns. So this is a robust enough organization that you cannot deny us and at the same time pretend you have an appetite to cure what is going on.
Absolutely.
Because part of the problem is that there is no real solution at the moment.
No.
And I do like that idea, because young people always say that if you work with young people, they always say the same thing. What can I do with my life?
Yes.
And most of the time, we're in a paused position where we say, I'll get back to you. We have because even though we're working with them on grassroots, there's a very few amount of these organisations can actually say, go over there. So it'd be great for them to say, go to, Road CEO.
No,
That's the structure.
They're there.
Yeah.
But it's, you see, part of a business or part of an entity is to know who does what.
Yes.
Yeah? Because most people in our communities and outside of our communities, they're working in isolation.
Absolutely.
It's very
Very few people have that, even looking at from putting the social element aside, very few people have that business acumen to say, look, I'll give you an example. Someone walks in here and they've been referred by the job centre to our program and they've got mental health issues. I've got a basic knowledge of mental health, but I should have in my network
Yeah, exactly. You
a
should have.
database of mental health practitioners,
Who you
especially
can trust.
BME or Black Minority Health, as they term it, who are specialists in mental health.
Absolutely.
That I can signpost the young person to. They'll work with them on that aspect, and I'll work with them on my aspect,
Yeah.
and it complements each other. If that person then makes a progression, on a financial side, I get paid, and they get paid. Everyone's a winner in the financial side.
Yeah.
But also, so this space occupied a lot of people with a lack of business acumen.
Absolutely.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
And it's very, very simple, but very, very effective. And you should have within your armory or within your toolbox all these solutions that are already there, packaged, ready to be used whenever it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And it sounds simple, but trust me, it's very effective. And I've been in this
Yeah,
space
yeah,
for
yeah.
a very long time, so I know that most people are working in isolation.
So then,
Absolutely,
just throwing it out there again. So do we
Yeah.
not need an organisation to get all these other organisations into order?
In what sense?
In just to get them all working on the same page?
Like an umbrella organization. Yeah.
Well, this is it.
This is it.
This
Yeah.
is the
This
whole
is exactly
program.
it. Yeah.
And what it does is it takes all the egos out of the equation for anybody who is emotionally attached to names, because we're delivering a program as delivery partners, and everybody plays their role separately.
Absolutely.
So to hear a bit more from Rap Raven in a second, G Circle has been connected to the road, and Content Over Everything, who are filming today, have a committed audience.
That's it.
They could put this video up tomorrow, and 5,000 people will watch that
Absolutely.
within a couple of hours of it
Yeah.
being up.
Absolutely.
So when we're talking about reach,
Yeah.
it's about connecting all the dots.
That's it.
When you write with a pen, there are components of the pen. So the tip, which is touching the paper, is the grassroots organizations.
That's it.
This pen is the strategic component in how it's writing. And the ink that runs through that is the economics that allows this to continue. So once you understand that it is just bringing together those various elements for one tool, all the Road CEO is a
There's a
toolbox
toolbox for everything
of
else.
various professional skills who can deliver you everything that you need. And it's one of those ones, because of the nature of the beast, every day that we identify a skills or knowledge gap, we will recruit that partner to the table to deliver that component. So as we've been talking about emotional intelligence, a huge part of the violence is a lack of emotional intelligence.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Empathy grows from emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
But then how does that benefit you as a CEO in a room? Somebody might say something that's a little bit lemon, and rather than you react, you might sit back knowing you have the ability and just respond, because you have more leverage at the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you understand these skills of not only how to put a deal together, how to negotiate, how to socially endear yourself to men and women to get an outcome, you can only utilize them to move in a virtuous way, and much more virtuous than you were, because a byproduct of gathering this intelligence, because spiritual intelligence
Yeah.
comes with this program as well. It's an element that we don't readily acknowledge or articulate.
Absolutely.
But spiritual intelligence is a byproduct of the empathy that we're delivering, which is just diplomacy. But aren't the most skilled people in the world diplomats, whatever deals they're negotiating?
I love the way you put that. You know, it was brilliantly said, articulated.
That's it.
I don't know where we can go from here apart from do this thing. So, right, what you know, what Dean just said there is so powerful. I think we should ascribe that down as you said that. What do you say about all of this?
I think it's just giving a platform for the brothers and sisters we're trying to reach to actually be able to be reached. See, and that's what we've mentioned. Well, it's called G.A.N.G, which is Guide of the New Generation, and it's a concept of moving around, trying to give the brothers and sisters who've come from hardship and decide to go down a certain path other solutions, but to also be guided by people who's also been going through it and seeing there's alternatives. But I think it's about connecting the dots, and like we just mentioned, COE has a platform where what we're going to talk about here, people are going to see straight away. So it's about us delivering and offering solutions. Like, you know what? Here's what we're doing. Here's what we are.
And I actually like that kind of commitment to do it live, because this is a table of people that follow through.
Yeah.
And so any young person watching this can see that there is some kind of hope in the future, because I think that young people look out there and it's just bleak.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's just bleak. It's just friends
course,
dying,
of course.
no job. You know, all the usual rhetoric that they come out with.
Yeah.
And so to look out there and go,
constant
actually,
bombardment, the constant
actually, there
bombardment.
is something there, or there are some positive. And me personally, I believe, you know, if I could get a bus and drive around and kidnap all the men in the community that promised to help and have turned their back on the community, and put them in one place and hypnotize them to go back into community just to be visible, and working with young people, because young people don't need you to be in their face saying you need to change. I tell you what young people need, they need you to be seen.
That's it.
Consistency, right?
Yes, and there's an organisation over in West London, I won't even mention the name now, but they stand out on the street, and young people come up to them and say, I feel safe.
Yes.
And so, you know, when we start looking at how complicated is it to save lives on the street, it's not complicated.
It's not.
Like you said, they need a strategy, they need something in place, and they need people that are visible.
You just touched on something very important, though.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about young people who are dejected, but it's not just young people.
It's not just young people.
Because what I hear are our peers talking to me all the time, and guys slightly older than us, who are saying, well, how come it's never been done? So I just want to give you a comparative.
Yeah.
If you look at the music industry, you saw for years black artists being ripped off by major labels and a particular set of people within those major labels. And traditionally, there was always a subservient relationship between the artist and those labels. Yeah. And then there was an energy that came, let's say late 90s, very late 90s with grime, where young people had such an energy, they did not care for the face, for how many mistakes they made. They went in with their energy. So there was a rock channel called Channel U, who, like MTV, couldn't achieve anything with rock, couldn't identify an audience, couldn't make anything happen. And there was a beautiful audience of young African Caribbean men and women who could be exploited because they didn't understand publishing, they didn't understand fully their label deals. And outside of all those negatives, not being able to understand publishing, not particularly finding their way through the dark on the record deals, there's an entire generation who became multi-millionaires.
Absolutely.
Based on their energy. And I believe it's that same kind of energy that the leadership who are placed around this table, with gentlemen like Spencer Fearon, with gentlemen like Justin Mohammed, the ladies I've mentioned, Julian Hall, Courtney Brown, yourself, you Nana, Raven, Raspet. With that acumen, we kick in doors. But what we know more importantly than anybody else is, nobody is coming for us. And when you're armed with that, if you're on an island, you're no longer waiting, roasting in the sun. You're going to start climbing trees and picking coconuts. And you're going to bust coconuts and understand there's milk to drink. You now are working for self. So why has it never been done? Because we've always looked with an eye outside.
That's it.
We've never, Raven says something so powerful in that we have digital tools, and I'd like you to speak on that a little bit as well, that can connect us. And we've never had the luxury of this time in history. Me and Courtney have spoken. That's the first time we've really met tonight, shaken hands. I knew you online. I knew you online.
Virtual.
The cameraman over his brother reached out to me from online, and I turned up in the park.
This is what it is, yeah.
2 days later.
Yeah.
So we're actually connecting at such an exponential rate. We've decided to close down all skills and knowledge gaps. And we've never been at that position at any time in history. So when you keep asking the same rhetorical question, why has it never been done? Number one, I don't necessarily think there was a genuine will. there's good money in this thing, even when we say there's not. And people been getting paid well. And we know that. So let's not pretend. And the virtue hasn't necessarily been there in decades gone by. The tools of connection haven't been there. So I'm going to finish with that, but I'd love for you to speak a little bit more on that.
Tools of connect. We'll pick up on that.
Yeah. No, what it is, it's literally like trying to find tangible ways to unite the community, right?
Absolutely.
Large groups of people.
Yeah, to find tangible ways. And right now we're in the social age where WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube can really connect. And I think we're missing something if we just don't go there.
Yeah.
Now, for me, as a collective group, this is phase one. As in, use these apps like WhatsApp, like Facebook. And once we're there and we're connected, then we go to the next stage where we're actually getting our own tech engineers, designers, and UI designers to make dedicated software that unifies the brothers and sisters and the community together. So, if you need a cameraman, it's there. If there's a young brother who wants to be something, he logs in because we say that some people might be like cavemen, but when it comes to operating Facebook and WhatsApp, they're professionals.
They got it.
You know what I mean?
Pro.
So what I'm saying is,
Definitely.
this is the phase one, or I say the Timbuk one, and then we have to go to the Timbuk two. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
I can't wait to get to Timbuktu. Because when you get there, there's a graceland of people connected together through a generation of lost people. Because this is me on social media. I think this generation has deliberately been misled into a place of darkness, and they call it the dark place, where when they realise what they've actually inputted into social media, it then becomes too late. It becomes an issue of dealing with trauma. Because, you know, if we had the time, we would kind of really go into the effects of what you were saying there, you know, the emotional effects and the long-term effects of things just like the like. You know, this is where we need to start. Just the emotional effects of things like not receiving a like. That's kind of like the reverse training that young people need.
But everybody gets to be a pastor.
But everybody gets...
It's like the nodding dogs in
Everybody
church.
gets to be a pastor.
You get to be a pastor.
Yeah.
That's what the likes.
And so, you know, I really wish we had time to go into that, because this would be, you know, this would open up a whole new kind of words for young people.
We'll be here forever.
Yeah. So I'm interested. So, Nana.
Talk to me.
Talk to me.
What's the question?
So the question, well, it's an interesting one because it's going a bit all over the place, but I think it's beneficial. I think it needed to go there. So if you were to sum up Road CEO to a young person who happens on this, because this is what we want. We want young people to go, I happened on a talk, let me share it to another young person, because this is what it is. Most of the stuff that we create, the content, kind of mills around our own age group, you know what I mean? And we want it to really infiltrate where it's going to make the change. It's like bursting into the matrix. And it's almost like reversing the whole Truman Show thing. This is where we need to be. So if you had to, you know, sum it up, so if a young person happened across this last few minutes of it, they would sort of engage in it, how would you do that?
I think the clue's in the title of it, Road CEO. That's something they know what that means. Yeah, they don't need a dictionary to understand what it means. It's self-explanatory. But really, in terms of breaking it down, it's how do you make that transition from here to here to legitimize what you're doing. You know, so you don't have to look behind your back every 2 seconds or be paranoid that the door's going to go off.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you're going to get into something with someone on the road. So the name itself is a brilliant, it's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You know, Road CEO, you know, Road
And it's a
boss.
language of young people.
Of course, they understand it.
Yeah.
And then once that draws them in, then they might want to do more investigation into what is behind this Road CEO thing, concept. So I think it's self-explanatory anyway.
And if you're asking what the actual toolbox is, a lot of young people won't remember the Open University, but what they will know is that they watch YouTube for lessons and that they have to eat the chicken and spit out the bones. What they won't necessarily know is what are the bones to spit out. What we are doing with this program, this is a bespoke program that is created exclusively for African men, younger and older, will benefit because this is business acumen,
That's it.
social skills. Now, there will come a stage, just like you saw Manhood Academy turn into Womanhood Academy, where sisters within this network are going to duplicate, gather all those sisters within the space, and create exactly the same program, but with the different, to address the different needs of young women, because they're not the same as the needs of young men. So I wouldn't sit here with arrogance and say, well, it's good for both, and you've got to get in where you fit in. I'm a man. I can't be anything else. I could not say I could be a good stepmom and a dad. I can't be a mother in any form.
That's it.
I'm a man. I'm a father.
That's it.
So we must get in where we fit in. We must be realistic. As big as my ego is that allows me to kick in doors, there's a stage where I'm going to hear a lady say to me, relax.
That's it.
Because it will take me out of it.
Let me add something to that as well. It's also a recognition that within the Road CEO program, there'll be other pathways as well.
Absolutely.
Because not everybody's cut out to be a CEO.
A business person.
A business person.
Yeah.
Let's
that's,
get that correct.
that's where I was going to go with it.
Yeah.
Transferable
So
skills.
there's other, there's, for example, someone might want to be a rapper or, have aspirations of becoming a rapper, but within the music industry, there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah.
So many of our youth, for example, want to be footballers, but there's a high failure rate within football. I could give you lots of examples with my peers that were on the books of Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, all these big clubs, and now you see. So it's about having a contingency plan and saying, look, this is what you want to do, but don't forget there's all these other things that you can feed into.
It's like watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then you're so taken in by that movie.
That's it.
Until the end. And then you go, damn, that's a lot of people that made that movie. It's about teaching young people that your name may come 60th down there.
But it's your part.
But without you, that couldn't have been made.
Yeah,
but you see what I mean? So that you're not the star.
That's it.
But you're in there.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what I tell young people.
Everyone has to be a cook.
Not everyone has to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make the festivals taste nice.
It's like this fascination they've got with people going into the construction industry. And other young people are not interested because they think they're going to be lifting bricks.
Yeah. Until
I tell them, hold on a minute, no, you can do X, Y, Z, architect, this, that. You can do it. Exactly. There's a whole, and they're like, okay, because they're just thinking of the most basic level of entry. Which is
they've been taught to generalize.
Of course.
And so when you become specific with, the whole, like you said, an architect.
That's it. So a lot of this is information and how you transmit it to our youth, because a lot of it's ignorance, a lack of knowledge. Once they're aware of what options are there for them, they can make an informed decision. And we've got, like I said, we've got evidence of people that they know. Some of them they know. That made that transition. So it's tangible. It's not based on a book or theory. It's a fact.
I know plenty of people that.
Of course. We'll be bringing,
of course,
as spokespeople for Road CEO, literal Road CEOs who are highly successful today. So you can see the entire chronology of their journey. They left home with their surnames. And made themselves into the millionaires and successful people they are today. That's very important. That is based on something that is solid when you're speaking to young people. Because there's one thing that they have that when we get to a certain age we don't. Self-preservation. Given the opportunity to correct behaviors that didn't work for them, young people sometimes will just be quiet. Caught onto something. They won't miss a trick. And then we'll make an adjustment. Unfortunately, some of us, when we've been doing it so long, we're so emotionally attached to the behaviors that work or don't work for us that we can't learn anything new. Because we know the worst case scenario is I might go on holiday for 6 months and have a free bed and board and look at porridge. But it's okay.
6 months if
I've done it.
If you're lucky, If you're lucky, there's real consequences and everything as well. I mean, I've done a panel interview here. Not a panel discussion with prominent underground artists, and one of them clearly said, listen, don't think that you're gonna just go around stabbing people and shooting people. just remember you can get shot and stabbed too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that point because
Yeah.
this is the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no glamour or glitz. The reality is
You could get stabbed
You
too.
could get stabbed or get a bird. I mean, I've been for the last maybe a week or two. I've been reading articles about people that have been stabbed, killed, and within a week, all these youths have been arrested. And there's this term. You must know this term: no face, no case. Yeah, it makes me laugh when I hear that.
Yeah.
The reality is, we know about
You don't need
DNA
a
or
face. Yeah, you don't need a
you know
face.
about the phone the phone you got as a tracker.
Face is old school.
Oh come on, no face, no case. And they're actually buying into this whole rhetoric.
Yeah.
But reality is, you know, these people commit these crimes and they're in jail now. They've been nicked. Yeah, so you know, it's about, like I said, it's about bringing it back to the real world and making sure they got consequential thinking built into their psyche.
Absolutely.
And that the communication that they're receiving is at a level that they're willing to ingest.
Of course,
They're willing to,
of course.
You know, it's like you know, just touching on the point there. Those same young people, if you ask them how long a criminal record lasts, a lot of them will stare you blankly in the face. They think it's years, a matter of maybe 5 years, 6 years.
When is your license up?
There you go. So that's a good starting point in schools. I always say, how long does it last? And I get to you're 21, 22, and I look at them and say,
Yeah, like I said, lack of knowledge.
wow, lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge.
Specific
I mean,
knowledge.
you know, some of the young people we work with, we actually show them how to. There's a deck that they can do sometimes when they apply for work.
Yeah.
You know, to explain what they've done and they want to make a transition. So we will show them how to craft that letter.
Yeah.
We also give them reality checks about, you know, once you commit certain crimes, certain doors are shut.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fact. We face reality. But then also giving them hope in the sense that you got these skills. What can you actually do with it? You know, can you become your own boss? Can you become self-employed? Because like I said, nobody mainstream, they're not going to tell them that. A young black male,
Society's
with these,
busy,
they're not
telling
going
that
to,
everybody,
because they've written them off.
Yeah.
Once they look at, like I said, the rap sheet and look at that person, that's it. You know, it's a rap. You know, and I've seen it. So many examples of where people have been written off, and I meet them and I think to myself, but why's the person been written off? They're clearly talented, but no one's ever given them that confidence to actually do what they need to do.
With a lack of with a lack of confidence,
Yeah.
leads to a lack of opportunity.
Vicious cycle.
And then you end up right back there on the streets
Of
trying
course.
to do the thing that you think you were good at in the first place.
Yeah.
And so it's
the
a vicious
default mode.
cycle.
It's a default mode.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the major things of this program is that you're going to be enabled with all of this toolbox of skills by design. Because I came to all of mine all by default. I don't listen to people. I need to know. I fail frequently and it's quick all the time. I make 1 million unique mistakes. I won't make the same mistake again.
Yeah.
But there are some mistakes that you can't come back from, and it's not necessary for our young people to make. We get there, by and large, by default, because these things are common secrets. And what we're doing is demystifying
That's it.
the entire
Yep, that's it.
landscape
Making it clear.
and
That's
saying, this is what it is. It's not a secret. These people are educated for leadership, and now you are being educated to lead as opposed to being educated to serve somebody. And don't get this twisted, because we're talking about employment. If there's nothing that makes you unique in the next decade, artificial intelligence is going to replace you. Sainsbury's is going to be empty of human beings,
It already is.
apart from consumers.
Already is.
So if you don't understand the evolution
That's it.
of the digital landscape with
That's it.
artificial intelligence.
That's it.
So two
you've
things
lost.
have happened.
That's it.
The landscape has been absolutely democratized. There are no more secrets. It's been absolutely democratized. You can go into any business that previously would have required licenses. Now it doesn't.
That's it.
The technology is there, and you can go into a £100 million business tomorrow by formulating the correct team with the correct skills. Similarly, for those who have no skills, nothing which differentiates them, AI is coming to make you totally redundant.
The thing is, It's about making our youth be aware of that information. So
I think that's a really
so they're
great
on top.
lesson.
Yeah. So they're on
That's a
top of the shift.
Yeah.
So they could be at the forefront of the the different movements that are coming. You
And
know,
it's not like it's not happened before. Look how many adults walking around shocked.
You could
That
have been a billboard.
they're no longer required in society. There's no earning capacity.
That's it.
And what's powerful, and I have to say this, I know we have to wrap up soon, is that what's one of the most important things to teach a young person is that you can work with another.
Yes.
You can
that's
become successful with another.
Yeah.
More so.
More so, because what they believe is if I can't do this thing, it can't be. No,
Teamwork.
So that's kind of one of the areas I'm looking forward to seeing is that young person.
I mean, one of the things I love about Dean, and he says this a lot, is the fact that, you know, it's been having the ability to see what skills different people bring that complement each other to get the job done. You know, it's not about knowing. You know, when you watch what's it called, Apprentice. You really believe Mr. Man knows all that stuff that he's criticizing those guys for? You think you really believe he knows? You think he knows all that stuff?
No, it's
chance.
scripted. It's given that.
He's a delegator, so he's identifying that this guy's got this goodness, and he put it together and he execute, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we like to complicate things.
Very simple.
And part of it is knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your weaknesses are, and bringing people on board to complement your strengths, and then putting something together.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, yeah. You know,
That's brilliant. I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah.
Like a lighthouse for young people.
Yeah. We, you know,
Something at last.
yeah, we you
Something
know,
tangible.
we've got a lot of plans ahead.
Yeah.
And one of the most important elements is not necessarily just the skills, but all of the people, men and women involved, are of a similar ilk.
Yeah.
Which is, for us, we are tired of seeing other people come in and take the money and not deliver in our community.
Absolutely.
We have gone out there and armed ourselves with particular skill sets. Like, you can tomorrow put up a notice and 30 or 40 people will come to the park. Like, tomorrow you can put on a program and people will come down here to take particular skills. Like, Julian can have a fair and people are going to come. Like, Spencer can promote an event and people are going to come. Like, Justin is going to have the radio show and people are going to come and listen. And people are going to listen to you because you've become authorities in what you do. And it's very important that people of our particular ilk create a mastermind plan, because there are many mastermind plans to keep us in arrested development.
Absolutely.
And we are now seeking to break that. And one of those things that technology democratizing across the board has done is it has got rid of every single gatekeeper. There is no gatekeeper in front of you. There are no permissions to be had other than your own imagination.
Absolutely powerful. Definitely, yeah. But it's about teaching the youth this.
And some of the older ones.
A lot of the older ones.
A lot of the older ones will stare you blank in the
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
and go,
yeah, yeah.
What do you mean automation's going to take my job? What do you mean?
Yeah, you'll find out in due course, you know.
So that's really, really interesting conversation. Like I said, it's cold outside, but we got together. This is information that needed to be. You understand what I'm saying? It's 4 men sat at a table coming up with what I call a master plan.
Yes.
I think it's something that is more than just a live video. I think it's something that will form part of a history. We'll look back at this and say, you know, this is what we sat and spoke about.
Absolutely,
as people, as I'm not going to call it great leaders, as great men do. You know, there's 3 great men on this table.
Yeah.
There's
too much.
Just a modest man, but I see great things happening from this table.
There's too much in things and focus in our community on waiting for somebody to provide a solution.
I agree.
Rather than coming to a solution yourself.
I agree.
You know, so when sometimes people see me and, you know, I post up something, I've been here, I've been there, had this meeting. How did he get that? Did manage to do that? Through strategy and research and knowing how to execute. It's not magic. You know, it's just about study and knowing, you know, knowing certain, you know, skills. That's it.
When you
So Yeah.
You find yourself in the, when you study yourself to be approved, you find yourself in positions that others will look at you and say, did he sell out? Please. It's as simple as that. But you didn't. You're there because by virtue of you.
But the thing is, people know who's quote unquote selling out,
Exactly.
who's not.
They know
Exactly.
They know the difference.
So young people know this. Young people know. They look around these organisations and they go into them and go, well, you haven't really. You don't even care about young people.
Yeah.
And they walk in organisations like yours here and they feel at home. They feel safe.
They could spot these people for a mile off.
We take it for granted that they don't know these things.
They could spot
you a mile off.
Consistency is very important.
Yeah.
You know, you can't fake consistency.
No, they can spot it. You know, they know who generally cares.
Yeah, and that's why a program like this, I think they'll identify with it and they will see it as something that's actually proactive for them.
One of my young guys done an interview at the BBC. He said, "No, I only done it because of you. Because otherwise, why would I talk to these people for? Because he obviously knows that what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So he's talking about his experiences on the streets here, and knife crime and everything else. And he told me straight, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing it. Why would I be speaking to these people that I know don't even give a damn about me? Yeah. They're trying to get him to pull up knives, and I said, listen, no, that's not part of the plan. We're trying to bring exposure to the issue, but all the hype,
positive way.
Knives, it's not happening. So,
what's interesting is that most young people, but I say the majority of young people in communities, they identify with specific men.
Yes.
And so this goes back to that whole thing where sometimes we think in order to solve the problem, we're all going to have to get together.
Yeah.
Yes.
What young people do, or in fact anybody do, you've been on the bus, you go, there's that guy. You understand that even though you don't know the full capacity of his worth, you just respect him for that. That's what young people do this. They see you on the bus and they go, that guy there is tirelessly working to save us. And so never believe that they don't listen. Young people listen to everything because that's the stage for them. And so it's what you tell them, how you tell them, and who's delivering it to them. It's really, really important.
Yeah. And they want to hear from people that have been there, done it.
They've done that,
Yeah. Not someone reading from a book or done some necessarily gone to done a degree and it's all based on theory. It's
practice.
Yeah.
No substitute for experience.
So they also want to hear people that are competent.
Yeah.
But I've also got that experience. Yeah. Which is invaluable.
And that's only right.
It's invaluable. And also they know you can see through the holes of some of their stories. That add up. Yeah. You can pick holes in it. Yeah. So okay, but hold on, that don't add up. And you can only know that from being from that same environment. It doesn't add up. It's not something you can learn in a book. It's just that you're from the environment, so come on.
That's the
give us a break.
Give you at uni.
Yeah, give us a break. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent talk, guys. Like I said before, it's cold outside.
This
is making history.
Thank
you.
You got your snow vehicle. You're
all
right.
Yeah. No, I'm flying home.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought there was something missing.
Go ahead.
There needs to be an emphasis on young boys and girls focusing what makes them the same.
Okay.
Yes, but that's not this program.
Yeah.
It will happen.
It's fundamentally important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
There's different facets.
The educational curriculum, which is the Diamond Enterprise School, does focus on that. I am my brother's keeper and my sister's protector. Touch one, touch all. So this is a very specific program to work with young men to attract them off of the roads, to give them better skills to circumvent and navigate the world.
Absolutely.
However, concurrently, that educational curriculum is there, and we're raising money on all fronts. And this is why these things don't happen in isolation. But don't take for granted that each of these tools and resources actually inform each other as well. But this is specifically about enticing young men from the road. But one thing I will say about the empathy, where young men, as I said, me and my peers would have had to go into a shop and steal porn magazines from the top shelf. These young men, from 8 years old, you can just tap keys and you're looking at the hardest pornography, which dehumanizes women. So part of this program will most definitely be dealing with the ways that young men and even older men see women, deal with and interact with women. And those are the transferable skills that you utilize in business as well.
That's it.
When I go into a room with women, in front of my lady or not, it's a very charming affair because I like ladies.
Yeah. If we can look at like my generation is 54 when I came from Angeles and I came to London and see people like me and we were the same. I came with a Birmingham accent at 21. I went everywhere with a Birmingham accent. I was never attacked because we were all the same.
Yeah.
And what happened when we stopped looking at?
But that was based on necessity.
Also, it was yeah, exactly.
Based on necessity,
Absolutely.
including the English in the
Yeah,
war.
but let's try and look at how and where it changed.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a great. That's actually a great workshop. That's actually a great debate, which I think needs to be had. Maybe
Absolutely.
here next
Where
week
did
or
it
the week
change?
after. But that's something that if we start getting into that, this is
We'll be here
12
forever.
hours long. But that is a great thing that we would address. But I think specifically for this talk here, it was more, and we digressed a bit, which was good. But now I'm going to rein it back and just ask Dean to just sum up, his last closing words on the road CEO. But I've taken note of that, and that is a great topic that I wish was going on tomorrow. But we'll address that topic.
Yeah. So, in essence, this is a program that anybody with access to a PC, a mobile device, can have access to. You're going to have a digital video resource that has hundreds and hundreds of hours of experts speaking in every single factor of business and life skills for young men. So that there are no secrets anymore. There is no mysticism. You'll have all the downloadable workbooks. Whether you choose to go into an MVQ assessment center where we have a set of trainers through Courtney Brown, Father to Father, training the trainers, through Julian Hall, training the trainers. So we have plenty of MVQ assessment centers if you choose to go for a qualification. But you can get in where you fit in and know that there are no barriers to access for you to take on these skills. And that resource will be there for perpetuity, which is why we are getting the funding that can hold it. It's not like a building where in 5 years' time, this is a digital landscape. You pay a couple of £1,000 and that is there for a couple of decades. That's the beauty of where we are. We are not separated by barriers of access. We are separated by the limitations of our imagination and our ability to form masterminds with people of a similar ilk. That's it.
That's all it is.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Road CEO, look out for it. It's going to be rolling out very soon.
May.
In May.
Yeah.
Sit. Roadie.
There we go. Every
Thank
single time
you,
we recorded.
everybody.
Every single time.
Yeah.
I'm starting to believe that.
Right, round Q, tell me. Round Q.
Okay. This is Courtney Brown from Father to Father, one of the partners in Road CEO. Just tell us a little bit about your background working with young men and your expertise.
Okay, then, like Dean said, I'm Courtney Brown, Father to Father. We've been running for about 5 years now, and we specifically work with fathers, men, and young adolescent boys. My expertise working with these boys, I've learned that they yearn identity. Yearn identity. They don't have their identity. And when I mean by identity, I'm talking about owning their culture and heritage, and being proud of it. What I've also have experienced with these young men is that their emotional intelligence, so in terms of they're angry, but they don't actually understand why they're angry. Do you know what I mean? So we work with them to understand, get their emotions out, and work with them in terms of using that energy for positive, and obviously to succeed in life. Really looking forward to working with Road CEO. We've been doing something similar in Hackney called The Future is Mine. And the MINE is an acronym for motivating, inspiring, nurturing and empowering our young black boys. We've just finished our mentoring program around racial identity and trauma, where we've got 10 men ready to go back into schools and mentor our young black boys, and hopefully I'll be bringing those men into because I think it's very important that our young people our young black boys see black men coming together
Absolutely.
and representing the community that we're working in.
Content over everything. Content over everything. From young to Benjamin. Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to IT.
10%, that's cool.
Listen.
Wicked. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to get one more? Paul?
Are you waving? Did you get a good one? 10% cool. I got the charge.
All in the lens? Yep. Oh, Paul.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Excellent.